Glad you could join us. Now, in our first story, government has today made a firm commitment to ensure that the election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives takes place between June and July 2021. Local Government Minister Hajia Alima Mahama today outdoored the implementation plan as she rejected suggestions government has been dragging its feet in implementation. The Progressive People's Party last week slammed government for reneging on its pledge to conduct the elections during the 4-year tenure of President Akufo-Addo following a shift of year for the polls from 2019 to 2020. The local government minister told pressmen they are following due process. Let's go onto the phones now and speak with joining us is Joseph Akable, who has been covering that press briefing. Joseph, what exactly has the local government minister Hajia Alima Mahama been given as justification for the change in date? So we are getting Joseph Akable on the line. We'll speak to him shortly. But first, let's hear Hajia Alima Mahama herself outline these reasons.
African peer review mechanism reports over the years, and all their reports pointed to the need for us to have our district chief executives elected. Honorable Minister, distinguished personnel of the media, to close this deficit, deepen our local democracy, and bring good governance to Ghanaians, the MPP in its 2016 manifesto promised to elect MMDCEs. His Excellency the President also gave firm instructions and commitment to have MMDCEs elected at both the cabinet level and his 2018 State of the Nation address. I'd just like to refresh our memories on his 2018 State of the Nation address, and I've taken specific paragraphs to refresh our memory on the things he said specifically in relation to this subject matter. In paragraph 28, he indicated that it is a firm manifesto commitment of the new patriotic party. My discussion with the national political leaders, including former presidents of the Republic, convinced me that it is a step we must take. The constitutional impediments to this, the Article 55 of the Constitution, an entrenched clause, must therefore be removed. Further, in paragraph 29, he indicated, to ensure the judicious use of the country's resources, I propose that the constitutional processes for a referendum should be initiated in such a manner that the holding of the referendum will take place at the same time as next year's district assembly elections. And lastly, on paragraph 30, he indicated that if successful, the outcome of the referendum will mean that the current set of MMDCEs will be the last batch of chief executives to be appointed under the current system. The current system stipulated in Article 2431 of our Constitution. If we succeed in this referendum, this will be the last.
Let's go on the lines now and speak with Joseph Akable, who's at that press briefing. Joseph, if you can hear me, what reason has Madam Hajia Alima Mahama been given for this extension of the date from 2019 to 2021?
So, Daniel, she explains that it has to do with the constitutional requirements that they are supposed to follow through to ensure that this particular election has the legal framework that is required of it. It has to do with the fact that a good number of the provisions that spell out the current procedure for appointment of MMDCEs are entrenched provisions. So she says they need to go through the process of having a referendum in place, among others, before they can have an amendment bill even passed by Parliament to provide that framework. I can quickly run you through the roadmap that she outdoored today. So there is a pre-referendum activities, there is a referendum activities, and there is also post-referendum activities. Now, let's take a look at that of 2018. That is the pre-referendum activities that is supposed to take place this year. So they are supposed to undertake 10 regional consultations and sensitization to raise awareness and prepare for the referendum. They are to undertake media engagement, a meeting with special groups in Accra, conduct a final national stakeholders meeting on election of MMDCEs in Accra. They are to draft a bill for the amendment of Article 55.3, which is an entrenched provision of the 1992 Constitution. Apart from the referendum activities of the National Consensus Report being issued, submission of proposed bill to Parliament, among others. Then there are activities for 2019 as well as 2020, with the main event in terms of the referendum taking place 2019 alongside the district assembly elections. Then the hope is that between June and July 2021, the elections could take place, allowing for the swearing in of the new MMDCEs in August of 2021, Daniel.
One of the major highlights you mentioned is that the referendum will take place in 2019 during the district level elections.
Yes, Daniel.
Did she give any reason, or did the question come up as to when this process kick-started, whether it started this year or last year, and why, if it started this year?
So it has more to do with the process and how far they have come. So they said as far back as 2017, they started with the establishment of the election of MMDCEs committee. So that was the committee that started this entire process and has been engaging the review of legislation and preparation of background documents. With regards to the fact that they want to hold a referendum alongside the district assembly elections, they talk about the cost component because if you be holding the elections across the country for citizens to decide, and around the same time you have the possibility of a district assembly elections also taking place, why not peg it at that level to enable costs to be saved, with the hope that increased participation will also be assured around the same time that that particular election will be taking place. But more importantly, the hope is that by that particular year, that is as at 2019, they would have finished what they have pegged in terms of the activities they need to undertake before that referendum can take place. So that is the main issue they are looking out for, Daniel.
Thank you, Joseph Akable, for that report. Let's move into some politics now. And the New Patriotic Party has taken a swipe at former President John Dramani Mahama for criticizing the Akufo-Addo-led administration's fight against illegal mining. General Secretary of the party, John Bwedu, at a press briefing this morning told journalists the president is a desperate politician who will do anything to win power. Speaking of former presidents, John Dramani Mahama. Let's go to Parker Wilson, who covered that press briefing, to tell us more. Parker, what prompted this response from the ruling party? We're doing all our best, all we can, to get Parker Wilson on the line. But if viewers would recall, former President John Dramani Mahama, speaking at a unity walk over the weekend, stated that the approach that the current government is taking in the fight against illegal mining is wrong. He stated that it was necessary for governments to legislate that sector of the mining industry in order that the persons engaged in it are not left jobless or unemployed. He also stated that efforts must be made to provide alternative forms of livelihood for former Galamsey operatives who may need to leave that sector. He said that it is not advisable to, quote, chase these illegal miners with soldiers. We'll go back to Parker Wilson to get a full wrap of what took place at this morning's press conference, which is known to be a response to the former president's statements. But in the meantime, we now have Parker Wilson, and we'll be going on the phone lines to speak with him. Parker, if you can hear me, what prompted this response from the NPP?
Sorry?
Parker, what prompted this response from the NPP?
Well, Daniel, basically it's about what the former president, Mahama, said when he was in Kumasi over the weekend as part of the unity walk. And of course, you know that the NDC says that the unity walk is a healing process for them. So that when he was speaking to a number of NDC supporters, he alleged that the efforts by the NPP administration by using the military to fight Galamsey or illegal mining activity in the country is counterproductive. And so he believes that it won't yield any positive results. And so this morning, when the NPP called the media to engage them on activities lined up for their national delegate conference, they indicated that as one of the issues that they want to talk about, which is the comment made by the former president. And they believe that that comment clearly erodes all the gains the country has made as far as the fight against illegal mining activity is concerned. And and especially at the media. You remember that the media were very hard on illegal mining activity. So they were saying that it's actually a stamp in the back of the media. And then he is calling on all the media coalition to condemn the former president for what he said and describe the comment as disappointing, repugnant, and quite worrying that the former president could say that. And again, the NDC government did not have a policy document to fight illegal mining activity, but then the NPP has a very comprehensive document to fight that. So he has no right to say that what the NPP administration is doing as far as the government is concerned is counterproductive.
Parker, was there any indication given as to when the current government, the NPP government, will be kickstarting its alternative livelihood program, which is part of the multilateral mining integrated plan?
No, they never mentioned that. The call for this presser was the National Delegate Conference. But as the NPP would say, or John Body would put it, he wanted to, touch his mind, or in a way that's how he put it. I wanted to release some issues off his chest. So that's why he decided to talk about this issue. But then they didn't mention anything about what you just said.
Anything about the impending Delegates Congress then?
Yeah, sure. What is happening is that the NPP have decided to open nomination for all aspirants to pick their forms on Thursday, and the various categories of the position available: the chairman, the general secretary, the women's organizer, national coordinator, and other positions. Now, what they are saying is that they want all the aspirants to adhere to the rules or the guidelines of the election. Now, a committee has been set up to ensure that the processes are properly done so that they won't disenfranchise any delegate. And they are expecting about 5,000 delegates on the day, which will be in Koforidua. So these are some of the issues the NPP has to put out at this very morning.
Do we know the membership of this committee? Parker?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do we know the members of this committee?
Yes, we know that Esla Owusu is a member of the committee. Reverend Asantechi is a member of the committee, Director of Elections for the party. Evans Nimakon is a member of the committee. Hackman Osajaman is a member of the committee. It's actually a 5-member committee put together to ensure that this election is properly conducted. Now, you recall that when they were organizing the regional elections, they had to again inaugurate a committee to superintend over the regional elections, and they are doing the same for the national elections as well. So very soon you'll see all the candidates hit the street to campaign for votes or canvass for a vote, since they believe that they can steer the affairs of the party within the next 4 years if they are elected into power.
And you said that the forms are going to be available to be picked up on Thursday. What's the deadline for picking up forms?
Sorry?
What's the deadline for picking up nomination forms? Parker, if you can hear me, we want to know the deadline for picking up nomination forms. Unfortunately, we are unable to continue that conversation with Parker Wilson. Let's go ahead and deal with some other stories, because the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, is calling on government to call the Ministry of Finance to order or face their wrath. According to Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampoado, the Finance Minister has recruited staff outside the civil service to head various divisions or departments within the Ministry of Finance. He says they must stay off civil service positions. Mr. Bampo was addressing a media briefing a while ago.
Aware of our responsibility to the government as partners in development, it behooves CLOGSAG to bring up issues that are likely to mar the existing cordial relations. These issues border on excessive use of political power to obstruct laid down procedures and processes in appointments and administrative matters. There are situations where some ministers have assumed administrative responsibilities and signed letters to civil servants to proceed on leave. Where some of these civil servants were deemed lucky, they were sidelined by special assistants of these ministers to encuba their positions. The extreme case being the appointment of internal auditors by these affected ministers. This is a clear violation of procedures in the civil service. It is not uncommon to eventually blame civil servants for the lapses of these non-career civil servants, often called special assistants. To forestall these developments, the affected ministers should be called to order, especially the Minister of Finance, who has recruited staff outside the civil service to head various divisions or departments within the Ministry of Finance. Another canker that is attacking the rules of efficiency within the government machinery is wanton consultancies to private entities. Through such consultancies, private individuals and companies have got access to confidential information on workers within the civil service. Nowadays, it's a common phenomenon for our members to receive telephone calls from some companies or enterprises addressing them with their personal details. For example, this message has been received by many workers. Mr. Isaac Colley of Ministry of Labour Relations, are you looking for a loan? Call telephone number 0000. The caller has virtually got all the personal details which was supposed to be confidential information on the worker at his disposal. This is not a healthy development and could be the source of leakages in the civil and local government services. The government could bring a stop to this practice if proper monitoring and evaluation of consultancies are carried out.
Let's move and deal with some other stories now. And part of the Malam interchange built to complement the George Walker Bush Highway have been turned into a site for open defecation. Joy News' checks also revealed that other sections of the land around the interchange are being used by tipper truck drivers as a sand and stone transfer station. Joy News' Joseph Akable has been following this story and now reports.
This is the Malam interchange, part of the 6-lane dual-carriage George Walker Bush Highway, funded by the United States Millennium Challenge Corporation. It's got multiple overhead bridges that help motorists avoid any gridlock on the ground. However, this beautiful architecture has an ugly side. I'm sure my dressing may give me away as not being appropriately dressed for this task. But what I don't get wrong when you see me is the fact that I may be at some workshop working. But would you be surprised when I tell you that I'm standing right underneath the Malam interchange? Take a look for me from right above. You realize that this is the interchange. In other parts of the world, you have it developing in terms of parks and various gardens beneath it. But the situation is different here at the Malam interchange. The land around the interchange has now been taken over by people for various activities. At the southeastern end of the interchange, evidence of burning of car tires is visible. The people burn a lot of refuse here. That's not all. There's a strong stench around. It's obvious part of the site is used as a place of convenience. The eastern part has auto mechanics who have pitched camp in makeshift structures.
We sell sand and stone. We do not produce them here. We have vehicles that bring them from the quarry. There are people who do not need much. We serve them.
Edward Kwanzaa, who is in his mid-50s, is one of the leaders of this sand and stone transfer station. He knows the history behind business activities here.
Before
we used to be at the other side. That was before the interchange was constructed. When they finished, the place was bare. So we had to come to enable us to get closer to the tipper drivers. We manage the two sides. We are not just here.
Edward and his colleagues are unwilling to move.
Oh,
The AME officials do not intend to allow us to have tents here. We have heard the land belongs to government. We decided to be under the bridge to avoid the scorching sun.
He, however, admits the occupants may prove stubborn if government is ready to use the land.
When you live at a particular area for long, it's tough to move. In fact, very tough. So you will be forced to resist, but the owner has the right and can use all means to evict you. But you must also find ways and means of doing your work. We are quite satisfied here.
This notwithstanding, there is a danger here. On several occasions, vehicles have fallen off the bridge.
Oh, say the cars
it's not so scary. We are managing here for now to enable us fend for our families.
But I say, no, I used to always say, that you be free as an baby uncle, and you manage your hakakra for the meantime.
This is a story about land left to be occupied by squatters. It's a story about people risking their lives to run businesses while fast-moving vehicles glide past above.
Interesting developments there. You're still watching Joy News today. I am Daniel Daze. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the 500-meter underground drain to check flooding at Malam Junction begins today. The Ghana Highway Authority has therefore announced traffic will be diverted at certain portions of the Malam Kaswa Road to pave way for the construction. Maxwell Agbagba was there earlier today.
The construction of this 500-meter drainage system is expected to stop the perennial flooding of Malam Junction and its environs. Contractors will be using 50 days to complete the project, which is sponsored by the World Bank through the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. We have been speaking to an official from that ministry who has been telling us more about this project.
The flooding was occurring here because the drainage system under the road was small. So the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, with support from the World Bank, has started this construction to widen the drainage system under the road. And this is going to be 6 times what it used to be before. And this is supposed to reduce the flooding that has been experienced here in the past. This is going to join the water to the sea across the road. So it is actually going to pave way for the Bali stream to have enough volume or access to be able to move across. And as you can see, we had to cordon off the road because the road, we are going to cut through the road. As you can see, the cutter working this morning is going to cut through the road for the excavator to be able to dig underground. All these projects are being done under the auspices of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources in collaboration with the Ghana Highways Authority and the Ministry of Works and Housing, but it's being funded by the World Bank. So from here, we are going to move to Kaneshie to do the same thing there. As you are aware, anytime there is a rains, the Kaneshie place is also flooded. So this is also, that is also a continuation of this particular project.
Okay. How optimistic are you that this construction would stop the perennial flooding of Malam Junction and its environment?
Yeah, as I indicated, what we are doing now, all the engineering studies were done, all the baseline studies were done, and then so the consultants, the engineers recommended. So this drain is actually 6 times what it used to be.
A portion of the Malam-Kaswa Road has been cordoned off to pave way for the construction of a 500-meter culvert. I've been speaking to the MTTD commander for Odoko, Michael Esiedu. He has been providing motorists with some alternative routes.
Most drivers coming from Accra will surely use the main Accra, that is the Graphic Road, end towards Kaswa. And those coming from Tetekwashi direction, that's La Paz, Nyameche, Awoshi. At Awoshi, they will have alternative route going through the Tarazu Road and making a divert onto the Waterworks area, then back to this main road. We've also placed men on the stretch to ensure that traffic flow is normal without any obstructions.
This road was constructed less than a decade ago, but already it has started developing cracks. The contractors on the ground we've been speaking to say this has been caused by the perennial flooding of Malam Junction and its environs. They say it's an attempt not only to save lives, but also to save the roads here.
To some other issues now, and the minority is casting doubt on the sustainability of government's initiative to reduce unemployment in the country through the Nation Builders Corps even before it's launched. Government will tomorrow, May Day, launch the new program, Nation Builders Corps, to address the age-old unemployment challenge. The project, when launched, is expected to engage 100,000 unemployed graduates on a 3-year program. But speaking to Roland Walker on the AM show, Member of Parliament for Tamale North Al-Hassan Suhuyini says the program is just a cosmetic approach to the existing crisis.
I say it's cosmetic, it's another touch and go. We are talking about National Builders Corps. Nations Builders Corps. And what you hear is that there are some people in the Vice President's office or in the President's office who are in charge. How they are recruited, what requirements they have been, considered. I mean, what requirements have been considered for their recruitment to be in charge of this Nation Builders Corps? I don't get you.
You mean those who are managing the program?
Yes. All you hear is that there are some people in the Vice President's office or who are managing it.
I don't get you. You mean the personnel who have been recruited to
manage
take up various positions?
Yes, to manage
responsibility.
You see, when we had now we have the National Youth. Now we have the National Youth Authority. Is that what it is called now? Yeah, the Youth Authority. We have the Executive Director. Okay. You know that there are now laws, or at least regulations, passed by Parliament that will inform you of how it operates. There's a board that is put in place now. And so you know who to hold responsible when things go wrong. As we speak, I'm saying in this particular case, you are devoting a chunk of our national resources to a sector once again, like happened before, without any structures in place. And so people enroll on it to do extended national service. In fact, it's extended national service because you have a university graduate who has finished his service, and then you ask him again to enroll onto this program and do another service for 2 years and be paid 400 Ghana, the same amount that he's been taking for service.
No, we paid 700. We paid 700.
That's before tax. No university graduate is employed anywhere, that is reputable and paid less than 700. At least, no place. No, the university, what do you call it, certificate, is worth more than 700 Ghana cedis.
So your point is what?
So my point is that this is just cosmetic.
Now moving on, it's said to have its origin from the University Hall of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, popularly known as Katanga. The dance, known as On the Left or Banging, is displayed at every university event. As Ghana marks International Dance Day, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah explores how the dance has spread to senior high schools across the country.
At this event, the elderly prefer gentle steps, but students have ideas.
For those of you who are aware of Kwaku Jesse's dance,
or Dombote celebration dance, Dombote, or the old school Akata gate. Mr. Lava Lava. Then you are halfway through. But if you don't know of any, then I would suggest you start imagining paddling a canoe. So as your hands are in the air, your left leg is also in the air. So right, left, right, left. So we start. And that is a basic movement, on the left, bouncing or banging. Welcome to the unofficial dance of Ken UST. In all things, flexibility is key. The dance is never complete without a handkerchief. Dancing with the knee pushed forward or holding the head lightly before releasing the hands are variations. The energy dance goes well with slow to mid-tempo music. Those skillful people can manage with fast songs. The females also have their own variation, which is marked as usual with a soft bang. Though Katanga Hall can boast of the craft, its purpose is largely unknown. But
I wish I could do that dance myself, but I think I need a few more lessons from Kwesi Deborah. But here's Emmanuel Abwajiriafi with business.